Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
Listen up, people. We got a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take too much of your time. You know our show's supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to ESPNPodcastStudy.com and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. No more. Again, that's ESPNPodcastStudy.com. Happy Wednesday, Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do that at 860-506-5505. Mike Golic Sr., Jr., and Trey Wingo here with you. Guys, I'm a little shook this morning. I'm not going to lie to you.
About?
Well, I'm in the car driving in to work, and a bird comes out of nowhere and right on the windshield.
Really?
Right on the windshield.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, well, that's a terrible way to start the day. And then, like, over the next 5 minutes, 3 other birds dive bombing the car.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Were you saying it's a terrible way to start the day for you?
Well, for everybody.
Or the
involved.
birds?
For both of us.
I don't see it in any way, shape, or form how it was bad for you.
Well, the last thing you want to do is thinking you've killed a bird on your way into work.
Okay, but last thing you want to be is the bird who was killed.
The bird jumped in front of the car.
Okay.
I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
One bird, I might fault Trey. You said it was multiple?
Oh, yeah.
That's an attack. That's a coordinated attack by the birds.
Either that or you have something on your car that's baiting them.
What is on my car that's baiting a bird to run into it?
Listen, I don't know you outside the building, even though we live 5 minutes from each other because you never invite me to golf.
You want to play golf today?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm playing with Mike and Mike Periano. So
probably
at your club.
Wait, is that the infamous Alex Periano? Oh,
yeah, you may know him as the father of
Alex Periano.
Stanzig's head's about to explode.
3 birds.
Yeah, well, I only hit one, but they kept running at me.
You have no idea if they survived, right?
I'm pretty sure the one that had that sickening thud, probably not with us anymore.
Yeah, okay.
The other 2, though, I mean, I'm coming down the road, and they're just jumping out in front of the car.
I love how you say it was a bad day for you when you're
I'm
here.
A little shook. I'm not trying to kill birds.
And they're dead.
One of them. The other ones are just.
The other ones are just crippled now, right?
Well, I didn't hit them. They just kept right in front of me. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm not. But I'm thinking to show you where my mind went. 3 birds. I should probably be playing golf today. I should probably go out and play. That might be a sign that I should play golf.
Yeah,
right?
I think you left most of your birdies out on the road. The course might be a different story.
Well done.
There's only one way to find out. For me to hit the golf course.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a lot going on today.
Yes, we do.
It's the eve of the NBA draft. Commissioner Adam Silver will be with us a little later. We're excited about that. Talk to him about not only the draft, but coming up potentially the end of the one-and-done rule.
Right.
He's always a very progressive guy, so we'll get his take on that. We'll also rein in on the World Cup in just a little bit. Big day for me. Tough day for you, big boy.
Tough day for me. Poland let me down.
Yep.
Let me down. Senegal's very happy, but Poland let me down. Tough day. So we'll get all the scores and that and where we are with our snake draft.
Plus, we will also get into Junior and Bubble Boy's attempt at a world record.
They attempted it.
Let's just say we're not going to tell you what happened.
No, we're not.
There was an attempt.
Proud of you, Debbie.
In fact, I changed up the rules. There were 3 attempts.
Oh, so okay.
There were 3 attempts because the world record was gotten after 3 attempts. So there was some negotiating back and forth. We negotiated a new set of rules that we'll get into.
Yep.
They attempted it 3 times yesterday, and we will give you the results
You'll have to wait
with video.
You'll have to wait and find out if we needed all 3.
Yeah.
Let me just say.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
All right, so
I put some math to it.
Yeah,
I did put some math.
Don't ever throw math on
You
things.
tried to overcomplicate it. Me and Devin made it awfully simple.
And also,
guys.
don't ever eat your kids. Give your kids a salad because the consequences may be
boy,
severe.
we're going to get into that
a little bit later.
Awesome, and the problems going on in Russia outside of the World Cup.
I know what that's about. All right, let's start with what's trending. And C.J. Cron homered early, and Wilson Ramos had a tie-breaking RBI single in the 8th inning, and all that talk about maybe the Houston Astros taking down the 23 straight record in the AL by your Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
Gone.
You know who
see
did
ya.
all that
Snap
talk?
the 12-game winning streak.
You know who two guys out of the three here went over the upcoming schedule.
That would be
That
me and
was
Junior.
the guy to my right and the guy to my left. I
Not
just sat
you.
here silently in the middle more because I didn't want them even getting near the Indians record, and they weren't near it yet. They were still 11 games away. But you guys,
we were all in.
They're basically playing minor league baseball for the next
didn't
15
say
games.
that.
Oh, yes, you did.
No, we didn't.
You know what? You said it with your eyes.
I wish I would have said that. That's a great take.
Okay, that's cool.
It's better than some of the takes we'll be playing on this show today.
What's the
by
deal,
way.
though? Justin Verlander, all of a sudden, as a team, they have 10 strikeouts 3 times and they lost them all. Verlander gives up 1 run and is getting no run support at all. His ERA is a little worse now than it was in May, but man, not a lot of run support there for him.
Yeah, like I said, it shows you that, you know what, in modern baseball, we've seen it go to this platoon-style pitching. There's no room for this anymore. Justin Verlander's giving too much effort. 122 pitches.
Hogging all the pitches.
Hogging all the pitches out here. Every time he's gone for 10 strikeouts. This team decides collectively he's doing too much and they're not going to support him.
Don't be sarcastic. It can get you in trouble.
Yep, no, I would say don't want to. But listen.
So much inside material being thrown around right now.
All things considered in all this, it was bound to happen, and this is, to me, a bigger reminder of why win-loss records for pitchers continue to be a huge misnomer, because despite his month of June, Justin Verlander was still great the other day.
Correct.
And didn't get the run support necessary. They couldn't get the big hit, and so they take the L.
Brother, you are preaching to the choir here, because I don't ever want to hear about a quarterback's one-loss record ever again.
Yeah.
Because the other 10 guys, they're doing stuff
Something to do with it as well.
All right, meanwhile, staying in baseball, Domingo Germán tossed 2-hit ball over a career-high 7 innings, and Giancarlo Stanton hit one of New York's 4 home runs in a 7-2 win over the Mariners. You want to hear Giancarlo's or Gleyber Torres? Which one you want to hear?
Listen, the way they're going, just pick one. Let's hear Torres, because I got a note on him.
There you go.
High drive, left field, span back, turning, looking, see ya, into the bleachers. What a shot! It is 7-2 Yanks.
That's the call with Michael Kay on the S Network and our good friend at ESPN New York 98.7.
So first home runs, the Yankees have 118 home runs this season. According to Elias, tied for the second most through a team's first 70 games. They tied with the 2000 Cardinals. The leader, the 1999 Mariners, 130, 12 more than what the Yankees have right now. And as far as Gleyber Torres, he has 14 most home runs at age 21 or younger in a single season by a Yankee. Mickey Mantle in 51 hit 13. Torres 14 right now. Mickey Mantle in 1953 hit 21. Mickey Mantle in 1952 hit 23, and then the leader, Joe DiMaggio, in 1936 hit 29 of them. So Torres is listen, it's pretty nice little list he's there with, huh?
I mean, this is the
biggies.
This is the identity of this Yankees team right there. I just felt the whole Dan Le Batard show staff quiver when you mentioned the 99 Mariners and that 90s baseball, the topic du jour yesterday. But this is reminiscent of that, right? We talk about the boom and bust nature of Major League Baseball now with all the strikeouts. It's just tons of boom in the Bronx.
Yeah,
and we got the bust out of the way early in the season. These guys have been lights out.
But it makes you wonder when we get into the postseason, assuming that the Yankees avoid the 1-game loss if if they don't win the division, that potential with they have the best record in the bigs. Is this team built for the postseason? Because right now it's either you get 4 home runs and a 7-2 win. Whatever happened to just hitting a single or a double every once in a while? You know what I mean? It's like it's all good now, but when you got Keuchel and Verlander staring you down, it might not be so easy to bash those home runs all the time.
It's still amazing to look at. The 2 best winning percentages in baseball are the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Right.
Red Sox are 1 game behind the Yankees. One of these teams is going to have to win 1 game just to get into.
Just to move on.
They're in the postseason. I get it. It's kind of like our play-in game.
Don't call it a play. It's the first 4.
It's the first round.
It's the first 4, the first round.
68 buys or 64 buys or whatever the hell that is.
We don't know.
Math.
By the way, as we continue, let's zero in on Luka Doncic. Mm-hmm. Zero in fueled by Gatorade. All the electrolytes. Zero sugar. Luka Doncic and Real Madrid won the Spanish ACB League Championship on yesterday, which means that the number 2 prospect in ESPN's Top 100 will travel to New York City and attend Thursday's draft. In the last calendar year, Doncic has won a La Liga ACB title, the ACB MVP, a Euro Basketball League championship, the EuroLeague MVP, youngest to win the award, and the Euro Basketball title. Other than that, he hasn't done much.
Let's get into some other notes of Luka, shall we? One on the basketball court. He would like to posterize, as they say, Kristaps Porzingis. He said, I can jump that high, but he can jump too, so that's a problem. But it's something he would like to do.
There you go.
Okay. You know who he'd like to date? He's 19 years old.
Yes.
He'd like to date Jennifer Aniston.
Well, she'll be there for him.
As he said, she's single now, which she is.
Thank you.
And he also, one other thing he's going to do, he likes tigers. And he
Who
said,
doesn't like tigers?
If I go to the U.S., I will buy a tiger like Mike Tyson. That's what he said.
There you go.
So he wants to posterize Porzingis. He wants to date Jennifer Aniston, and he wants to buy a tiger. Well, it's goals, right?
That's a pretty good bucket list.
This is a guy who clearly, based off that list, his formative years have no doubt occurred in a modern basketball locker room, because that is pulling from every pop culture tenet that you would have been fed through that lens. He has come to America through the lens of basketball based off that. And you hear about, I think we've had this before with other athletes who are learning English as their second language, learning it by watching Friends repeat. Yeah. Clearly, Luka, in whatever fashion he has come to it, may have subscribed to that, because there's really no other explanation unless he's a big We're the Millers fan.
There's a 30-year age difference. There.
Age is just a number, man.
It's just a number. It is just a. I just figured we'd want to know a little more about Luka. His basketball speaks for itself.
I think
even though we haven't seen a lot of it because it hasn't been here.
I think we're going to get a lot more about Luka Doncic going forward. Yeah. And again, he could be the number one pick, or it could be DeAndre Ayton in the draft. We'll have a discussion of all of that with Adam Silver coming up a little bit later today. The NBA draft Thursday 7 on ESPN, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. It's time. World Cup update. Russia is dominating the World Cup on the pitch, but off the pitch, they've got a problem. They took a step closer to the round of 16 with a 3-1 win over Egypt. All Russia now needs to advance to the round of 16 is an Uruguay point against Saudi Arabia tomorrow. Russia joined 1998 France as the only host country to score 3+ goals in each of their first 2 games in the World Cup.
Yeah, whatever. Poland lost to Senegal.
Yeah, that was a bad one for
what
you.
was that all about?
I don't know.
Are you serious with that?
Big one for me and Debbie. Big one. Big day yesterday.
Never saw that one coming. So, Stanzik, you were trying to tell me in my ear, and I wasn't paying attention or couldn't hear. What are the standings right now?
I may have to double check these, but I believe
think you have to double check them.
I believe Junior and Devin have 14.
Yep.
The staff has 13. Wingo has 12. Golic, you have 9.
I got shut out yesterday.
I believe those are the standings.
You got snake bit.
Poland let me down. And the biggest note, Mike, I heard you talking about it, was the own goals going on right now.
Well, there was one in the Senegal game yesterday.
Right.
But now on the tournament, there have been 5 own goals. We have 47 matches left in the World Cup, and there have been 5 own goals already. The record for overall in a single World Cup was set in 1998 with 6.
I like our chances.
We are going to set a very dubious record, and Russia is going to have a very dubious black mark on their record if they're not careful with the way that they're conducting themselves right now during this World Cup as a country.
That's true.
Well, you want to get into that now? Because they've got some issues.
We can save that for later, because
we'll savor that flavor for later.
This is the big stuff. We want to hit the small stuff right now. We want to save it for the big stuff right now.
All right, so here's what we got today. Portugal takes on Morocco coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Right.
So that is Portugal is you.
That's me. That's me against.
No, that's
Portugal's
Junior.
me and Devin.
No. Morocco is me.
Oh, Morocco is you.
So and you have Cristiano Ronaldo who had the hat trick in game 1.
Good luck with that.
Okay, whatever.
Uruguay versus Saudi Arabia. Now that's me with Saudi Arabia. Who's got Uruguay? Uruguay is you.
It's me again. And Uruguay, they advance. They advance with a win.
Yeah.
Love that.
And I'm
feeling good.
I'm counting on Spain big time here against Iran. A staff is Iran, and I'm Spain. Spain needs to come through with 3 points.
Iran advances to the round of 16 with a win. However, it is winless against UEFA teams at the World Cup. So
I'm feeling pretty strong about Spain versus Iran.
I would. But you know what? I felt pretty strong about Poland against the Senegal.
Spain over Poland.
Whatever.
I'm sorry.
So I got two today. I got the possibility of 6 points.
Big swing for you today.
Oh boy, this is a big day.
You're going up against Freight Train Ronaldo, though. Good luck with that.
I have the possibility of 2 points too, but one of those is Saudi Arabia. So I'm not feeling really good.
Not feeling good about that one?
For 2 points. No.
Everyone excited to hear about our fantasy teams right
Why
now.
not?
Yeah.
Well,
Hey.
This is peak of.
That's why we care.
Nobody cares about your
Let's
fantasy.
root
team.
for our own. Oh, that's right. We're not in it. So
There you go.
That's why we're doing this.
Shh, Taylor Twellman's coming here later.
That's right.
Yeah, and also don't tell Landon Donovan, but I am pulling for Mexico. They're on my team. They're on my team.
He's
People will be
cashing a
upset
check.
with me. I'm just saying. Golic and Wingo presented by Progressive Insurance. Commercial insurance through Progressive protects your business and your dream. Choose from over 30 coverage options at progressivecommercial.com. Speaking of protecting your business and your investments, it sounds like Gregg Popovich is trying to do just that. Head coach of the Spurs had a little sit-down with Kawhi Leonard in Los Angeles tonight, basically saying,
I love L.A.
Thank you, Steve. Basically saying, please don't leave.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be successful?
Man, I'm not. So the two biggest players that we're talking about now, the summer of LeBron, and now Kawhi is into this. So from now what we've gathered, we know that Kawhi and Pop met in L.A., and now from reports we understand that at least LeBron's people, whether it's LeBron or not, his people have been in contact with Cleveland. Not with any definitive answers about anything, but just talking. Now, I'm not sure what they're talking about, if they're not talking about trying to get an answer one way or the other, but, they're talking. So there is conversation going on with the two big names that are going on right now, one who has a choice and the other has to be traded. The Kawhi thing, and we're going to hear a lot of sound associated with. That's what we do now in talking about all this. But I have to say, overall, I'm just surprised because you never hear from Kawhi. He's like that quiet superstar who just seemed very happy where he was. But again, we didn't know because you never really hear from him. But we had no reason to think he's not. And for the way that thing blew up, to him not even being with the team for most of the year, and then in the playoffs, not even being with the team on the bench in the playoffs, to saying the distrust there and now wants to be gone. That has somewhat surprised me for a guy. I think surprised a lot of people for a guy we never got to know. Usually you get a read on somebody because their personality can be out there. But this one caught me off guard. And if he truly doesn't want to be there, I'll be interested to see if Pops can talk him back into it, like Pops talked down LaMarcus Aldridge last summer.
Yeah, this seems a little bit different than just not wanting to be there because you don't fit the way LaMarcus Aldridge didn't feel like he did, or you're not used to Pop's coaching style. Kawhi's been there. Kawhi is used to the coaching style. Kawhi has been the focal point of this team. Injury was the different stimulus, and that's the part that's interesting to me is we all do, because this is the NBA, and we have so many outward-facing superstars. Adam Silver gets to come on and talk about a league who's got a lot of really well-known characters, guys we feel like we know because they're outspoken on a number of different things, but just in general, they give us a lot. Kawhi doesn't give us anything. He's never given us anything. So for us to act like we know Kawhi enough to read this as abnormal, to me, is misguided.
I'm not pretending like I know Kawhi at all. I want to be 100% clear about that. I don't know him from Adam, except I know he's one hell of a basketball player. And much in the same way, Brian Windhorst has made it clear that the Cavs need to make a decision before they know what LeBron's decision is. Coming up Thursday is a critical moment for the San Antonio Spurs. Here's Ramona Shelburne.
I don't know if the money would even matter anymore. That's really saying something in terms of where the trust and the relationship is. $219 million is a lot of money, and you really can't do anything. I mean, if he goes elsewhere and he signs, that's $70 million difference. That's a lot of money to leave on the table over trust issues, right? But I think that's where we are. It'll be interesting to see over the next couple of days how this plays out, because the draft is Thursday. That's the first hurdle. And if you are interested in players in this draft, one of the teams in Los Angeles has 2 lottery picks. They're not the highest lottery picks. There's 12 and 13, but there's other teams that may take a swing here. So if you're the Spurs, they had to have this meeting before the draft and look them in the eye and get a sense of where things really stood.
Okay, a couple of things here. One, I want to put this up on a Twitter poll. What would be a bigger reason for you to walk away from potential $70 million? Right? That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, we are.
Now, granted, he'll probably make the money up over. You're never going to make that money. You're never going to make that money up.
But you're never going to be hurting for money either.
Correct. So what would be the dividing line that would make you want to walk away from $70 million? I want that on the Twitter poll, first and foremost. And then secondly, when it comes to this, how bad must it be if that's the line in the sand that you're willing to cross?
Here's the thing that what I think. And you heard Charles Barkley talk about it. He said every single player, when they have an injury, that can be a major injury, you should get a second opinion. Go to your doctor, another doctor, get a second opinion. And while I agree with that, let me just say teams hate it. Teams It's been negotiated,
Yep.
and every player's allowed to do it, and every player, in my opinion, should do it. I probably didn't do it enough.
Yeah.
I put my trust in the team and in the doctor, and they were fine doctors, but, the thought is the doctor's paid by the team and blah, 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 and that whole thing. But teams hate it. Players have the right to do it. Teams want you under the umbrella of their team doctor. So that's number one that he went there. And then when you get to we think you may have not only are we not with you, but we think you may have misdiagnosed us as well and don't trust you now from that side of it. So that's something that I don't know if a lot of people understand that teams do not like. While players have every right to get one, do not like when players are out looking, have other doctors looking at their injuries.
I could certainly understand that. That's why I was so surprised that so many of his teammates were the ones to speak up, because we always hear this with money. Guys generally tend to stay out of other guys' pockets when it comes to contract stuff. Usually injuries treated a lot in the same way, because guys understand your body is your means of providing your income for you and whoever else you've got to feed. We heard a lot of people on that team talking about that injury, which lets you know just how toxic and strange this situation had to be, because that, to me, that came from veteran players, guys who know. So that seems really abnormal to me in a sport where, again, money and injury always seem to be the things that you let guys handle on your own, because everyone deals with it at some point or another.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like most of the Spurs we heard from over this season thought that maybe he could play, right? If you're trying to read between the tea leaves, they felt like maybe Kawhi could go. So then the question becomes, how much is it not just about the issue with the staff and the medical training, but the actual trust with his teammates at this point with Kawhi, which leads to actually a bigger issue perhaps going forward, which we'll get into a little bit later. But again, what would you walk away from $70 million for? That's what I want to know more than anything else. Leave us a voicemail on that, 860-506-5505. What would be so bad that you would say, yeah, I'm going to walk away from $70 million? I want to know, and you better have a really, really good reason. I'm not walking away from 700, let alone 70 million.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030. Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
When you first went out there and practiced, the ball hurt a little more than you thought, didn't it?
The ball hurt a little more than we thought, but let's just say we cannot confirm or deny if we even needed all three tries, all right?
Well,
it's a hell of a day. Hell of a day. Devin, by the way, you're going to see an exemplary effort on Devin's part here.
Are we?
This
Are
guy
we, though?
Stroking it out there.
Okay.
Stroking it.
The interesting thing here is if that ball hurt a little more than you thought, that clearly means he caught the ball, which means how many times did he catch the ball?
See?
The record. So
Hands
there we go.
are pretty sore this morning, boys.
There we go.
Pretty sore.
All right, we are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And again, leave us a voicemail, 860-506-5505, because Kawhi Leonard is ready to walk away from a potential $70 million difference between the Supermax he could get from the Spurs and get somewhere else. So what would cause you to walk away from $70 million? I need to know this. I need to know from people what is so bad in their life they would walk away from a potential $70 million
We
difference.
are in a sport in basketball where I think you walk away from the most money. I believe, because even before the Supermax,
$70
even before the
million.
Supermax was out there, guys that would leave, the home team can always offer that year
Correct.
extra, so it's usually that, $30-35 million range, something.
Double that.
Yeah, but I guess you also have to remember what they're making, what they're already making. And I get it. If you make money, you want more. I do understand that, but it certainly seems in this case Kawhi has found a line to cross.
Well, it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. And let me just say, Straight Talk, I don't think you do understand this. You were willing to give one of your checks for one of the stupidest things I've ever heard all time.
Yeah, I wasn't I?
I mean, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
And we'll figure out whether or not you
is
had
it this
to.
Thursday or next Thursday when the direct deposit hits?
Direct deposit next
Thursday. All right,
so you're good there.
Okay.
So again, the Spurs are meeting with Kawhi Leonard. Gregg Popovich went out there to L.A. to try and see if he could, ease the feathers that have been ruffled, because Kawhi and the Spurs clearly are at odds right now. And then our good friend Jason Fitz, who, by the way, has some of the greatest arm tattoos you'll ever see. No offense, Junior.
It's all right. Mine are better.
No, he shaved his arms down so the tattoos pop.
So the color really pops.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's just got color.
He's got a little color. Mm-hmm. He had this interesting take on Kawhi.
Everybody's invested in Kawhi Leonard and forgetting about a key detail. This is a guy that decided he no longer wants to be a Spur for life, but it's also a guy that decided either it's a guy that missed the entire year due to injury, essentially, or it's a guy that missed an entire year because he didn't feel like playing. Either of those pieces should be a huge concern for anybody that wants to add him.
By the way, that's Spain and Fitz, 6 to 9 Eastern weekdays right here on ESPN Radio. I think that's a legitimate concern.
And listen, only Kawhi knows the answer to that, because just as we said before the last break, is when players or their own veteran players talking about, Tony Parker had this injury and was back from this injury and is way older than.
And let everyone know.
Did. So getting questioned there. Again, only Kawhi knows if he could have come back and played, if he wanted to play, but not only not playing, but staying away from the team as well, I think was even added to that, because you play long enough, you're injured, but you're always with the team even when you're injured. You're usually rehabbing there. Now he was rehabbing somewhere else, which adds to this as well. I think that's the biggest thing of all this, Mike, is we don't know him. We just think quiet assassin, one of the best players in the league, quiet guy, always seemed fine with where he was, and now all of a sudden, when you peel back the onion a little bit, you're like, oh, okay, well, we know what gets him riled up, and boy, we know how much he got riled up because of it, and now he's looking to change teams. So I think that's what makes this so eyebrow-raising, is we just didn't know anything about this guy.
We still don't know anything about him because we don't have another injury to compare this to where we say, oh, well, he responded favorably here, but not here. This is the first real instance of something that is legitimately derailing for him injury-wise that he's responding to. So in my mind, we still don't really know much differently about Kawhi Leonard. Now, the prospect of, is it he was injured for this whole time, or, he's a bum, he's a bad teammate, whatever it is. There is a ton of middle ground in that, where the distrust with the team all of a sudden says, if I come back and re-aggravate this, how do I trust the team to do right by me in that instance? And with all of this, too, if we're talking about now concern for whoever the next team is, injury concern, are we going to act like that's ever really been a major thing in the NBA for superstars? I mean, Kyrie Irving is coming off an injury where he was out for the entire season. The difference is we, like everything else with Kawhi, don't really know, and that's what the next team's going to want to know. They're going to want to say, hey, what have your people determined happened to you medically? We need to get a look at that. Like you said, teams hate not being involved in that conversation. Teams want their medical staff to feel comfortable. So that's going to be the hurdle, is saying not, well, he's damaged goods. It's, no, let's just get a handle on what this injury is so we feel like we've got some control, because we see guys come back from injury all the time. And when he does, he's Kawhi bleeping Leonard.
Yeah. But the question then becomes, that's it. He's Kawhi bleeping Leonard. And I'm just saying that because you just said it. Is he the most unknown superstar in any sport in this country?
Well, I mean,
in terms of what we actually know about him?
Oh, I think so. I think we know what his play is on the court, but he's always been that quiet guy. So you don't know. That's why people are
maybe he should be Kawhi Leonard.
Oh God!
Oh boy!
People. So you wonder if people that don't know him say, "Boy, this seems out of character." Well, we don't even know. We don't know what the character is. All you hear is you believe he's a good guy, but I mean, we don't know. There are obviously plenty of people that know him extremely well, and if they wanted to come out and say what kind of a guy he was, good guy, whatever, they could do that. We're not one of them. That's why we're all left here to just kind of throw out, our own hypothesis about what's going on.
Kawhi Leonard's a blank canvas, and we get to paint whatever we want on him. And when he was quiet while the Spurs are winning and everything's good and he's the reason why, we laud him with all of the things that we usually laud great teammates and great athletes with, because he's not giving us anything to the contrary. And now when he's quiet in the midst of turbulence in times when everything is not so great, I wondered this, and we started to hear it, and I heard some of it on ESPN radio yesterday throughout the day when people would start to turn on that, when all of a sudden his silence is less endearing now because we want answers and we're not giving them, as opposed to the guy who before just wasn't giving us extra.
And one thing that's very interesting here, Kawhi has missed 160 games now in his NBA career, or roughly a quarter of the Spurs games since entering the league in 2011-2012. That's 24%. So he's just 1 percentage point shy of missing 20.
Yeah,
he's available 70. Now, a lot of that was this year, obviously.
Right, yes, it was.
Yep.
Yes, it was.
But this obviously isn't the first time we've had the injuries with him, and we'll see what happens going forward. We'll see if Pop can save this relationship going forward. And that's Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. I think Golic Jr. needs to understand he's just our farm system.
That's exactly right.
That's what it is.
We just cherry pick off his show. If he's lucky, we'll give him credit, but that's not guaranteed.
No, but we're certainly not paying him.
No. Paying him?
No.
I still haven't given him my bill from raising him.
That payday is coming, don't you worry. Sports Center is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. When a player, wow.
That's a fine.
That's gross. Turn on your mic. How about that?
Nobody knew it.
You done?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Anyway, Sports Center, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. When a player doesn't like a contract, they hold out, right? Well, with Straight Talk Wireless, you never have to because there is no contract. And they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
Okay, speaking of Straight Talk, we got your world record attempt coming up in just a little bit. We'll get into that. Plus, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will join us at 7:30. Obviously, a lot to get into with him on the eve of the draft. We will do that as well. But it seems this offseason there's always things to get into with Captain America, as our friend Herm Edwards called him, Tom Brady. A lot of speculation about him missing voluntary workouts for the first time. He pled the fifth when he asked if the organization respected him, yada, yada, yada. So there was a SportsCenter Instagram post on Sunday off the Tom Brady conversation with Oprah about retirement sooner rather than later. And Tom Brady decided to comment on the Instagram post on SportsCenter's or ESPN's Instagram account. And his comment was simply 45, which means 45 in Spanish. So it was all about, I know the end is closer than the beginning, or we're closer to retirement than I was before. Now, he'll turn 41 in August.
Yes, he will.
So that means we're looking at, what, 4 more years?
4 more years.
4 more years.
I think there's 2 more years. And by the way, he said that he has negotiated the next 2 years with his wife.
Oh, yeah.
He says he has a little further to go now to get more years, but he has negotiated 2 more years. And as far as I had said, last year when I said it, he had 3, so it was last year, and I do think he has 2 more, and I think that'll be it. I don't think he makes it to 45.
Has he talked this and run this by Jay Feely at all?
Oh, that's true, too.
I know that's going to be an important factor in that for the Brady family.
So this has everybody losing their collective minds on some point. And I'm just going to play this out there, the idea that maybe Tom has 2 more years left. People think, how dare you? Ladies and gentlemen, I present ESPN's own Will Cain.
I'm going to tell you right now that Tom Brady owes the Patriots. You can't talk like I'm going to play for 5 more years. You can't talk like I'm going to play till I'm 45 while Jimmy Garoppolo's in-house. And the minute he's gone, start flirting with retirement. I'm not sure I'm into this football thing. I'm not sure I'm feeling it anymore. You can't talk one way when there's competition and another way when it's gone. He owes the Patriots. That's the bottom line. Tom Brady owes the Patriots. Now, how much and how much time he owes them, we can debate. 2, 3, 4, 5 years? I don't know. But he owes them. If you're a Patriots fan, if you're Robert Kraft, you're the organization. You made a commitment to Brady. Now Brady has to make the commitment to you. I've been the biggest Tom Brady supporter. I'm in on Brady, but he's got to be in on his commitments.
All right, well, let's...
That's ridiculous.
Thank you. Let's just start by saying When has Tom Brady ever said, I'm not into this football?
Oh, well, that's exactly. And even,
when has he ever even remotely said that? He hasn't.
When has he said he's only going to play a couple of more years?
He hasn't said that either.
He said retirement is closer than before. Yeah. Even if he went 4 more years, he's played 100 already. Yeah. Of course it's closer. And by the way, he owes them nothing. Nothing.
He has 5 rings.
Ridiculous.
The team has 5 rings. He's the only player, by the way, with 5 rings for one squad. Charles Haley has 3 with the Cowboys, 2 with the San Francisco 49ers. Listen, whatever the Patriots decided to do with Robert Kraft and helping Jimmy Garoppolo go along his merry way, that wasn't because of what they thought is going forward. That was because of what Tom Brady has already done for them. Let's be clear about that. It's not for, we expect this. We're like, Tom, you've given us so much. You've earned this. That's the way that went down.
You've earned the right to jettison Jimmy Garoppolo from the organization.
Pretty much.
I mean,
that's what the Crafts have said. Well, that's what the Crafts have said.
I guess if you're going in that regard, while I disagree with Will's take on a pretty fundamental level in this, although I understand the difficulty of hosting multiple hours by yourself, sometimes you find your way to some takes that you weren't quite ready to fully hash out. So
I don't know. I feel like he was really all in on that one.
Yeah, you know what? You feel like you're all in. You get rolling at some point. Talking in succession feels good because you're filling the airspace, but then you realize after the fact you may have said something that you don't quite make sense of. But in all that, this idea that I at least understand where this was born from, because if you're saying it, yeah, he was able to dictate the terms of Jimmy Garoppolo going away, and this was before the 45, which let us all know that Tommy is still focused on 45 as the goal in all of this, that, you know, if you're the one that kicks him out, you can't really be the one to unkick it. I understand where it came from. I disagree with it entirely.
Let me say this, that in no way, shape, or form did Tom Brady put a number when he said he's closer to retirement than not. Again, 4 years could be way closer than not because of how long he's played. And to what you said, Trey, I'm not going to lie. If that truly was the reason, that's ridiculous. If they jettisoned Jimmy Garoppolo because of what Brady had done for them, that's a stupid business move.
That's Kobe Bryant levels of bad.
Stupid business. I don't know, and I don't know if they truly did that. If they truly did it that way, that's ridiculously dumb.
Well, that was part of the Seth Wickersham article that came out last year. Let me just say this. All of this is great, and it's fun fodder and talk, and none of it matters.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are in the deep, dark crevices of the dark ocean with an NFL player playing at this level. He could come out tomorrow and throw one pass, and oh, God, look, my elbow just fell off.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't care how much avocado toast you eat. You control nothing at this point. Nobody controls anything past the age of 40 as a starting quarterback. NBA commissioner, and do we have a world record?
Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
Listen up, people. We got a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take too much of your time. You know our show's supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to ESPNpodcaststudy.com and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. No more. Again, that's ESPNpodcaststudy.com. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Leave us a voicemail, 860-506-5505. What do you think the Spurs should do with Kawhi? Where do you think LeBron is going? Maybe who your team should draft with the NBA draft coming up tomorrow night? Or what would cause you to walk away from $70 million more? If you could stay one place and make $70 million more than going somewhere else and not making $70 more million, I need to know what that would be.
Yeah, talking about Kawhi Leonard and walking away from the Supermax. And basketball is a sport where you know exactly what you're leaving on the table. The top players, anyway, who get the max deals, because the max here and the max there are two different things, so it's right there in black and white, just what you're possibly leaving on the table.
I'd be very interested, and Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, is going to be on here in 30 minutes, what he thinks about max contracts and what their benefit is to the league at this point. Because
you mean if it's working, we know the reason why, to keep the guys on your team.
To keep the guy, the idea of the Supermax as it's currently constructed is instituted to keep guys on your team, but the max contract in general, the advent of that practice is the reason you have the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
It's the reason you have the idea of super teams. Joe Thomas was on Twitter the other day going off about this as because it came off those Myles Garrett comments about Kevin Durant broke the NBA. He said, no, max contracts did that. And so the reason it's easy to leave $70 million on the table is because you're not leaving $150 million on the table the way you would be if you were being paid fair market value as a superstar.
Well, again, but the whole idea of the super, like you said, the Supermax contract was to make sure the Golden State Warriors don't exist, right? That was the whole point.
No,
but that is the whole point.
No,
right?
it's
the Supermax
yes,
now. Yes.
But even the Supermax is ill-conceived in doing that because there's still a limit on what you can make. And so you say, all right, I can have a capped amount here that still, it incentivizes me, but not as much as it could, or I can play winning basketball at a place that can afford to build the team on the normal Supermax where I'm still paid plenty of money and all this. It's not enough to sway them away the way guys in the NFL would never dream of doing this, because when you've got the ability to make fair market value, it changes the game completely because the dollar amounts are so inordinate.
Yeah, they really are. So again, we got a lot of that coming up, and we'll enjoy our conversation with Commissioner Silver coming up at the bottom of this hour. Lots to get to, and let's do it now with what's trending. And what's trending is the Yankees doing what the Yankees do. Domingo Germán tossed a 2-hit ball over a career-high 7 innings. And Giancarlo Stanton hit one of New York's 4 home runs, Mike, in the 7-2 win against the Mariners.
Again, Yankees have 118 home runs this season. That's tied for second most through a team's first 70 games. They're tied with the 2000 Cardinals. The leaders are 99 Mariners with 130, so 12 more than the Yankees have this year and what the Cardinals had in 2000. Gleyber Torres continues his incredible pace for the rookie.
It's ridiculous.
Now at 14 home runs. Looking at the other home run hitters who are age 21 or younger in Yankee history, Mickey Mantle in 51 hit 13, and 52 hit 23, and 53 hit 21, all at 21 or younger. And then Joe DiMaggio heads that list in 1936. He hit 29, 21 or younger, and Torres has hit 14 at this point. So kid's something else right now, and we were throwing him out there. Would you trade him for DeGrom? And obviously the Yankees aren't going to trade him. The Mets. It's fun fodder to talk about in something that it wasn't going to happen, but boy, oh boy. I mean, the Yankees have a lot of big boppers. Some they're not even paying big money yet. This guy obviously is so young. Not yet. Stanton's the only one getting that monster money at this point.
He is, and I think that's been the interesting thing as much as anything about this recent Yankees run and all of the runs that we've seen is Stanton's also hitting pretty well again. We've seen him another home run for him last night, 17 on the year now. I think so. Aaron Judge has been consistent throughout the year, but we know Stanton struggled so much to start and was the talk of the town, and now seems to have finally found that groove again.
Well, he got his furniture, so that's probably what it was more than anything else. He finally got his furniture taken care of. But
but seriously, you think about the guys making the money. Gary Sanchez is making $557,000. Aaron Judge is making $544,000. Torres, we know, is not even making that, I don't believe. Yeah. And Gregorius is making $5 million. So, and then obviously you have Stanton and what he's making. So these guys are all looking for big paydays down the road. It's just not happening. Obviously not yet.
Well, and that's going to be the interesting thing here, because right now I believe we have 4 teams in the American League on pace to win 100 games. 4 teams. Yankees, Red Sox, Astros, and Mariners are right now all are on pace to win 100 games. And that means 2 of those teams, if these things hold up, will be in that 1-game playoff. That 1-game playoff to keep their hope alive going forward. And with that in mind, the Yankees are going to have to do something and give up something to make sure they have enough pitching going forward. Meanwhile, speaking of going forward, hey, Russia took a step closer to the round of 16 in the World Cup with a 3-1 win over Egypt. All Russia needs to advance to the round of 16 is a point from Uruguay against Saudi Arabia tomorrow.
Yeah, so Russia wins 3-1. Japan beats Colombia. That was a huge win for you, Trey.
Yes, first ever time an Asian team had beaten a South American team in World Cup play. And
a huge win for Mike and Devin was Senegal beating Poland. That one absolutely crushed me. So the standings right now in our snake draft is Mike and Devin are first with 14 points. The staff is second with 13 points. Trey has 12. I got shut out yesterday. I only have 9 points.
I can't believe Poland fell apart
I can't
for you.
either.
I mean, congratulations to Senegal, but come on.
So the games today, Portugal against Morocco, Uruguay against Saudi Arabia, and Iran against Spain. So, and again, we only care about our snake draft more than anybody else, but teams can start to advance now.
Well, the over-under prop bet on Uruguay is when will Luis Suarez bite someone? I mean, that's what he does. So the question is, it's coming. It's just a matter of in which state will it be in group play? Will it be in the knockout round if they get there? That's the prop bet everybody wants to know, right?
Bite Watch 2018.
Well, we had it in 2014. We had it. He's pretty consistent. I'll give him credit.
You know what you can do?
Yeah.
Book it.
Book. Oh, do we have Book It today?
Well done.
No. Book it's on Thursday.
Right.
It's just book it. It's just a nice tease, a little book it to get you through the week, little hit.
You know what else you can book? They need to book more beer. I'm sure you guys are probably more upset about this than anything else. They are running out of beer at the World Cup in Russia.
Stunningly enough, they have. It's been hot and humid there, and there are places that are running out of draft beer, and the deliveries aren't coming quick enough. I think there was. They obviously misjudged what was going on in Russia.
They obviously, I think, thought a little bit too much about their own reputation. They figure we're Russia. We do vodka. Everyone's going to come here, and they're going to want to sample some of this fine Russian vodka that we got. The problem is, this is event drinking. This isn't, I've got a 3-hour window to go out and hit it hard drinking. This is, I've got to last all day. And you can't do that shooting vodka. You'll die.
That's true.
You can if you're Russian. You can't do it if you're anybody else.
That's a fair point. Yes, these are outsiders coming in for your party, and you don't want to be the party that runs out of beer.
They overestimated everybody else's vodka tolerance.
Yeah,
right? Because they have great vodka tolerance.
I think they just saw this through Russian vodka lenses.
Yeah.
We'll get into more of that a little bit later, and maybe how they can save themselves.
Yeah, I know how they can. Order more beer.
There you go. All right. Nicely done.
That easy.
And then NBA prospect Michael Porter certainly doesn't lack for confidence. In an interview on CBS Sports Radio, he compared his game to that of Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, and just for funny, threw in Tracy McGrady as well.
You know what? We always have analysts do that. But when a player does it, we can't stand it. Listen,
how dare he say he's good?
In all honesty, listen, I'm past all of that. But I don't want to hear a player tell me who he is or how good he's going to be. Trae Young, I want to do something that's never been done before. Okay, great. Every player that comes in a draft and goes into a pro sport wants to do something, wants to be successful, wants to be very good. I've never been a fan of hearing someone tell me who they're going to be like or how good they're going to be or how good they want to be. I know it's the old guy coming out. Go ahead and play the drop if you want, but there's just something about you.
Oh, yeah.
You have the ability. You're going to go play. Just play. You know what? And when you play and you're really good, people will talk about you. That's something that's been back in the day, and I think would fit right now as well. You don't need to tell me how good you're going to be.
So basically what you're saying is
you play to win the game.
You just play. You just play.
You play to win the game.
Let your play tell everybody how good you are.
All I'll say is this. We're hearing it consistently enough from everyone, right? These guys.
I know.
So what does that usually tell you? And what do we always say about the pre-draft process for the NFL? You are coached up on a lot of this stuff. You're coached up to give people what they want. Is this something that, whether it's advertisers, whether it's teams who want to hear this kind of confidence, is this something that people need to hear? Because I can't imagine everyone's going rogue, right? I mean, unless this is just a huge personality shift and guys all really are this otherworldly confident, which in this case, give me some of what they're having.
Yeah.
But this just...
Vodka.
Yes, it's probably vodka. It's probably Russian vodka. I don't know. To me, it just seems like it's too pervasive for it to be accidental.
Yeah. Well, but to that point, one person does it and it gets some shred, so the other person says, "Well, they're doing it, so I'll do it."
So I guess my question would be, because I know you were in that situation where you got coached up on how you should answer questions. What's the upside? Do we think that some draft GM or team is hearing Trae Young say, I want to do things different in the league that nobody's done before, and they're going, oh, well, you know what, we're going to take him a little higher because he said that, or that we hear a player compare himself to Kevin Durant, and that's supposed to change our thought process about him? For the people who are making decisions?
I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if that's a coaching point, if it's just exude confidence or whatever. But I mean, God, how much longer or how recently was it when we heard all those rookie quarterbacks after they got drafted? What are we going to do? I'm talking about winning Super Bowls. We're going to win this many games this year. Guys just seem to, and then all of a sudden they get inside the building, and it's amazing how quickly the answers for that rookie class of quarterbacks changes all of a sudden.
Shut down a little bit,
because then they're comparing themselves against other 21, 22-year-olds, and then they see 28-year-old monsters, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to pump the brakes. Yeah. Michael Porter Jr. certainly not lacking any confidence. Confidence theme brought to you by National Mortgage Lender Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. So you can mortgage confidently, but can you break a world record confidently? Yesterday was the day. Yesterday was the day where Junior and Bubble Boy Devin went out there and tried to break the record set by our guy, golfer Tony Finau, and one of his buddies.
Steve Tinoco, who was a minor league baseball player. So a minor league baseball player catching the ball and a professional golfer hitting the ball. So we went out there to a park, and I watched them practice for a little bit.
Man.
And I changed the rule. So here's what I changed, Trey.
Okay, yeah, because you obviously saw something that made you feel like you needed to change the rules.
And by the way, for anyone that missed this, Devin and I said we thought we could break that record, and you offered up one of your paychecks.
I did. I offered one of my paychecks to split in half and give half to each of these guys. And then when I saw them practice, I saw it was definitely, I didn't think they could do it anyway, but how difficult it was going to be. And Tony Finau and Steve Tinoco, they took 3 attempts to break the world record. So I changed it. And the world record was going to be out of it in the last 2 because it was over the time. So the first one I gave him a minute to break the record. And then I gave him a second attempt at 1:15 and a third attempt at 1.5 minutes. So I went up 15 seconds per. But the money they were going to win came down. They were going to get half my paycheck. Then they were going to split a third of my paycheck, and then they were going to split only a quarter of my paycheck.
This was all before we did anything out on the field. This is how you watched us practice and you thought you would make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, I did. I did.
It was completely unnecessary, by the way.
And then we got to the competition. The terms were agreed upon, and then we got to the competition.
And how did it go?
Mike,
we're seeing some video about it if you're watching on ESPN.
So the first thing I'll say about Devin really quick, Devin, I was surprised how winded you got and how out of shape you are for hitting a golf ball.
Yeah, I was surprised as well.
Were you hyperventilating? What's going on?
It was just, a lot of sweat. It turns out hitting 20 golf balls in a minute can tire you out pretty well.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you know what? No,
oh my God.
I'm not going to.
I'm 74, and I don't get tired out hitting 20 golf balls.
I'm not going to tolerate this. I want to see. All right, you know what? I want you guys to line up 20 golf balls and hit them inside a minute and see if you're not winded.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I mean, doubled over, Trey. He was doubled over. And
that's insane.
Mike, do you want to say whether you guys got the record or not? Do I owe you money, or do you guys owe me a car wash?
All right, so listen.
Oh, I already know.
Here come the qualifiers. Here come the qualifiers.
I just got to say, first off, we didn't need all 3 tries to realize this wasn't going to work. We were not very good at this. I may have misjudged the importance of the minor league baseball aspect in all this, because judging the ball flight and trying to react to them coming one after another at their zenith all of a sudden became the most difficult part of this. Got to give Devin a lot of credit here on the team. Devin was putting them in very catchable positions.
Except for the first round. The first round, Devin was horrible.
First round was terrible.
Well, horrible.
And part of the issue, I heard you chirping in the microphone, and you just got in my head.
So again, I did. So again, we're trying to check someone's toughness. Dude. He was like a wax figure next to a fire. He just melted.
Well, can I just say, now, Devin, I love you. You're my bubble boy. You're my guy. But this segment has been horrible for you. You are so out of shape that 20 swings in a minute wins you. And secondly, you're mentally weak. This is a very, very tough segment.
I did have the megaphone.
This is a very
I had
tough
the megaphone, and I was chirping.
I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go to bat for my teammate here because, again, Devin was not the problem. I fully admit my hands failed me on this one. By the way, that hurts like hell. Catching a golf ball bare hand, not a great time.
Yeah.
Not a great. We had Stanzik, our producer Dan Stanzik went out there and caught a practice one. Dan, tell him how that felt.
I got to be honest, we underestimated how much that's going to hurt the hand. We saw the padding and we were ripping on Steve Tinoco and we were like, whoa,
Steve
this guy's
Tinoco had taped his hands.
Cool.
And you taped your hands and it still hurt you.
The level he taped was savage. So I'll say that.
Okay, so
it was bad for us. We went over
attempt number 1 in 1 minute. How many did you catch?
None.
And that was, I'm going to say that was more on Devin. You would admit, Devin, right?
First round, yeah.
There were only probably a few catchable balls.
You almost hit me and or Cliff more than you got it to Mike.
Tension is the enemy of the golf swing.
You didn't catch any.
I wasn't reaching my hand up for that.
Tension is the enemy of the golf swing.
The second one, you had 1:15. How many did you catch then?
Caught 3.
Okay, this was the one, Trey. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. The second round, first hit was a beauty by Devin, and Mike caught it. So they were, right at the start of 1:15, they were 1 for 1. And I thought, okay, that's pretty interesting.
Again, we're talking about the bet that Devin and Junior had with you in an attempt to break one of the most obscure Guinness Book of World Records ever, catching 13 golf balls from 110 yards inside a minute.
Inside a minute. That's exactly right. So we had gone past the minute. We were going to give it a 1:15. It caught through. You caught the first one, and I really thought, wow.
Yep.
So in that one, you probably had 6 or 7 that you could have gotten to. and you caught 3.
Yeah, I was a bad punt returner in this one. I misjudged a lot of these balls, and so once I was off my game, change of direction's not what it used to be or ever was.
You weren't horrible in that one. Devin was horrible in the first. You were weren't horrible in the second, but not great. You were downright horrific in the third.
Bottomed out in the last one. There's no doubt about it.
We went to the minute 30. How many did you catch there? None. You caught none. And Devin, I have to say, Devin, in that minute 30, you put, I would say, you caught 1. You don't even remember the one you caught in the third round.
Most of the time.
You had to put at least 8 to 10 catchable.
I was feeling good. By the last round, I was feeling good.
You knocked him in there, and Mike, you just couldn't catch him.
I'll tell you what, that's why I'm going to sit up here all day. I'm going to wear this one. I won't tolerate any slander for Devin, because Devin was putting him out there right now.
Round 1 he was horrible.
Round 1 was tough, but everyone has a rough it was working out the kinks. We were getting him in there.
Round practice for an hour to work out the kinks.
Round 1 was Devin's Phil Mickelson moment on the 13th.
There you go.
That's basically
I'm not going to lie, by the way, I would posit this. Devin, best athlete on the staff.
Wow.
I'm willing to say that top to bottom. And based on what I saw.
Because he could swing a golf club?
Because he can swing a golf club. I know he can hoop. I've seen that. We can confirm that with Ryan Hollins. It's not Devin's fault that Ryan can't catch an alley-oop.
Mm-hmm.
All I'll say is this, and I think I'd be willing to do something around this. I think Devin could beat Trey in a round of golf.
What's your handicap?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
See? Sleeper.
I'm all in.
Sleeper.
I'm all in.
I'm
about it.
I'm not going to lie. He swings very well.
I'm looking at the swings right now. It's strong to mostly strong. He's taking the right divots. You clearly, I'm watching the video, were never a punt returner.
No.
Yeah, like I said, what gave it away?
Yeah. As I said, an O-lineman try. And that was, and we found out what they should have done is not hit at the pace you were hitting, because there's no way you were going back to it. You even had Brett back there, trying to tell you where the next one was coming. That was an impossibility. I give those guys a lot of credit setting that record. Being now, again, a baseball player, being able to catch a ball and judge a hell of a lot better than a fat O-lineman.
Formerly fat.
So the
best part about this now is Devin and I lose the bet. We're going to pay up. We're going to make good on it. We got to wash your car.
3 weeks washing my car. They have to wear Speedos, and they have to use their bodies as the washcloth.
Nobody wins here.
No, see, now me and Devin win because now our diet starts. Now, if the summer bodies weren't already tight, they're going to be even tighter. This is going to be like a calendar shoot.
Well, and you just told us last hour that your body is already rocking.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's there, but it can get better. It's like getting ready for a photo shoot. Models sit around in great shape, and then they tighten for the photo shoot.
We have the body edition of ESPN the magazine coming out. We have the people that we're going to talk about.
We do.
You guys can try and get yourselves ready for that.
Still waiting on the invite.
The next video you'll see of Mike and Devin will be them slithering all over my car, washing it with their Speedo-wearing bodies.
We're going to have a special guest,
You're welcome, America.
No.
You're welcome.
America should be rejecting this idea with all of its might.
Special guest that you guys are really going to love almost as much as I'm sure that everyone, including our bosses, love this segment.
Is this person going to wear a Speedo as well?
Oh, yeah.
Are you telling us who it is, or are you just teasing it?
No, we're going to hang it out there. This is one you're going to want to see. Whole lot of man.
Well, hold on. If you say
whole lot of man.
If you're saying Speedo, hanging it out there pretty much comes along anyway. So.
We're going to be all the way out here, man. Get your popcorn ready.
Get your vomit bags ready.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030. Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
Golic and Wingo presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You can leave us a voicemail at 860-506-505. But we are delighted to be joined right now by the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver. who is getting ready for the NBA draft. Adam, first and foremost, thank you for being with us. By the way, you were the first guest, I believe, we had outside of people inside the building here on Golic and Wingo. And 7 months later, we're still here. They said it wouldn't last.
Well, good morning.
Glad to have you with us. So as we're getting ready for the start of the NBA draft tomorrow night, what is your anticipatory level here for this event, which is really the seminal event of the offseason going forward for the NBA?
There's an enormous amount of anticipation. I mean, we have, I think, another fantastic class based on watching a lot of them play in college. Obviously, some very high-profile international players coming in as well. They're coming in a little bit younger than they have historically. We're projecting we're going to have roughly 20 one-and-done players coming in out of college. I think that's just the reality of where we find ourselves. And, we spend a lot of time talking about what our minimum age should be these days. But I can just tell from the amount being talked and written about this class that not only are the fans excited, but I know there's a lot of teams are really excited about the opportunity as well.
Certainly looks like a good class. And you mentioned the possibility of 21 and dones. In your estimation, how many years will it be before we are announcing high school seniors again in this draft?
I'm not sure. As you guys have reported, we sent a memo out to our teams saying that if we were to make the change, it wouldn't happen before either the 2021 or 22 season. The reason we did that is because teams, of course, trade draft picks. And the year that if we were to change the age from 19 to 18, you can just imagine how rich that draft class will be, because in essence, we'll have two classes coming in at once. And again, that maybe there's something different we need to do that year. We've had very preliminary discussions with the Players Association about what would happen in that case, but we really haven't sat down either frankly with our owners or the Players Association to have more extensive discussions about whether the right thing for the league is to move a year earlier. Just to add to what's going on, as I think Condoleezza Rice was brought in by the NCAA. She chaired a commission. They met for about 6 months, and they made a recommendation that, in essence, that the NBA take back the one-and-done players. So I think one of the important factors, of course, is that if the college community is saying they don't want those players, I think that will weigh heavily in the discussions we have with our Players Association. And around the league, it's a mixed bag. I think probably our teams are about 50-50. I mean, we went back in 2005, we went from 18 to 19 as the minimum age, and we did it because at the time there was a sense that the players coming right out of high school weren't mature enough, both from a skill standpoint and a life standpoint. Things are a little bit different now. I think the AAU programs, the junior NBA programs, the USA basketball programs for teens are more intensive. Plus, we have our G League, which we didn't have back then. Again, it's not. I don't think that it's win-win. Whatever you do, I think I can understand from a lot of general managers' standpoint why they would prefer drafting players after they've been in college for a year. On the other hand, in fairness to the college system, if they don't want the players, I think that's something we have to take into account.
And it's certainly something that looks like it will be figured out going forward, as we're talking with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on the eve of the NBA draft. Adam, we just came off lather, rinse, repeat for the fourth straight year, a finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And on one sense, it's what the people wanted. Ratings were up. People were very interested, even though it was a sweep. They were very into this series because of the stars that were there. However, there are some people out there that are saying, look, we're getting into a situation where we have these dynasties which are bad for competitive balance in the NBA. Now, my counter to that has always been we've always had dynastic teams in the NBA going back to the 50s, whether it's the Celtics, the Lakers, the Bulls of the 90s, the Spurs, and a couple of other teams in the 2000s. The question then becomes, where are we going forward on the idea of the same teams being there year in and year again being a problem?
Well, to your point about who's happy about it, certainly not the 28 other teams.
Correct.
I can begin with. But, to your point also about competition, I mean, and I talked about this during the finals. I mean, just taking the East, for example, with LeBron, he, of course, has been to the finals now 8 consecutive seasons. I think the first player since Bill Russell to do that, and he's played with 59 different teammates over the last 8 years. So I'm not sure what system we could develop if supposedly the right outcome was he shouldn't be in the finals 8 years in a row, and I'm not suggesting it is, but from a system standpoint, I don't know what we can do differently. I don't think anybody was looking at Cleveland going into the finals and saying, what a loaded team. I can't believe he has so many superstars around him, with complete respect to his teammates. So and then in the case of the West, I get it in terms of Kevin Durant going there. It was a bit of an aberration in our system. We had a spike in our cap. It enabled them to have additional cap room. The Warriors will tell you they would have figured out a way to get it done anyway. I don't know. But even if Kevin Durant hadn't gone to Golden State, and let's just say he'd stayed at Oklahoma City, or let's say he'd gone to another team maybe in the East, you clearly would have had a third team that would have been much better. Any team that has Kevin Durant will be. But then you still have 27 other teams. And so, you got to give Golden State their due. And I've said repeatedly, let's also celebrate excellence. I mean, ownership, the job Bob Myers has done as a GM, Steve Kerr, of course, one of the great coaches in our league. And then, Steph Curry drafted, Klay Thompson drafted, Draymond Green drafted 35th by Golden State Warriors. And so I don't think as a league we want to go about breaking up teams just to break them up, just to force some sort of parity that is kind of unnatural. On the other hand, I can understand a system doing some different things in the system that may not have allowed a player like Kevin Durant to go to a team that was already so good. So, number one, there are things we can look at. There's always a next collective bargaining agreement, and people over the years, we've talked about a harder cap than we have now. The NFL has a much harder cap than we do. Ours is somewhat soft, obviously, allows teams to go significantly above the cap and the tax level, and that's the case with both Golden State and Cleveland. They're significantly above where our tax level is right now. So we'll continue to look at it. But in the meantime, hats off to Golden State and to Cleveland for that matter. They're competing within the system. They're driving hard to win, and to the extent that Golden State, as a result, may be a dynasty, I mean, they're probably right there, and not for me to declare them one, and maybe people have to look back on it. But again, I credit them with working within the system, and also just watch the basketball on the floor. I mean, it's beautiful. They're a fantastic team, and I think and I loved I think a few players. I mean, Victor Oladipo, when Indiana lost in Game 7 to Cleveland, he tweeted the next day, "I'm back in the gym. I know where the bar is now." And also in our league in terms of parity, for the first time in 39 years, we had 2 7-game conference finals. So, I mean, you could say the Rockets were built to defeat the Warriors, and they were right there. They had Game 7 at home against the Golden State Warriors, and obviously in Game 5, Chris Paul, a superstar player in this league, injured himself, and there you were. So he wasn't in the game that the whole season was built on being in. So there's elements of luck involved with this as well. So I mean, I'm still at the stage of celebrating the basketball we have right now. But I hear people. I mean, listen, honestly, the 20 other teams, they're the biggest complainers in terms of the fact that these two teams have met 4 times in a row, and so they're ultimately collectively our 30 teams are in charge of what system we have together with the players. And by the way, the players want to win too. I mean, it's not just the owners. The players on 20 other teams want a system that allows every player, regardless of where they get drafted or where they get traded or where they sign, to be able to compete for championships. Sure. And that's what you want. So, and again, as you guys pointed out, there have been dynasties forever in this league. It's funny. There's an old Sports Illustrated cover you guys should look up from 1997, and there's a picture of Michael Jordan on the cover.
Yeah, we've seen it. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's saying, are the Bulls bad for the NBA? And it's sort of, it's kind of the same storyline right now. I mean, although, I was with the league, of course, I started in the early 90s, people weren't quite saying, I don't remember the same conversation back then. I think because you didn't have the Kevin Durant factor. I think that sort of bugs people a little bit. I think just because a team that was already a championship team gained Kevin Durant, there wasn't quite the equivalent with the Chicago Bulls. But like I said, from a system standpoint, I'll take that as an issue for the league, because we always, through collective bargaining, can be sitting down with our Players Association, figuring out what's the best way to design competition around this league, because that's what we have. So.
Adam Silver joining us, the commissioner of the NBA. You've also advocated for, now that gambling is legal, a 1% cut, basically, for the league. Where are, as we have a couple of states now that are going forward with this, where is that heading right now about the 1%, whether you can or whether you can't?
The casinos don't seem as excited about that idea as I am.
I'm shocked by that, Adam.
Our notion is that, there's a bit of analogy to me to music that, call it a royalty. When that music plays in the casino, everyone understands that the musicians, the composer, all get a royalty, some fee from that music being played. From our standpoint, we created this content in the NBA this year. Believe it or not, we'll spend roughly, close to $8 billion this year, in the NBA, a combination of our arenas, paying the players, all our expenses and everything else. It would just seem natural that to the extent that the casinos are going to then take that content and in a for-profit business, of course, then use it to make money, that the NBA or whatever sports league, and including the players, are involved in the creation of that content, should get some sort of share. So we went to the state legislatures. There's roughly 20 of them right now who are in the process of either pass bills or discussing right now sports betting legislation. We went to them and said, we should get some sort of cut. Now, I'll just say that to the extent that the states are, saying ultimately, no, they're not suggesting necessarily that we don't deserve to enter into some commercial relationship with the casinos. They're saying we're going to let the market, work its magic. In other words, you, the NBA, if you want to sit down with Caesars or Wynn or whatever it is, the casino, and have direct discussions, that's up to you. And then, so in other words, you may have situations where you go into a sports book at the Bellagio Hotel and there's some official moniker that says, official, betting parlor of the NBA or whatever the league is, and as a consumer then that their data is coming directly from the league. There's a whole process now where illegally some of our data is they call it like scraped, where you have college kids watching games off television and creating their own stat feeds, things like that. So, the data is official, there's an integrity behind the information you have. It allows them to use, the logos and marks of the league. So at the end of the day, I think we will probably end up entering into a set of deals directly with the casinos. But let me just to step back. Most importantly, from the league standpoint, I mean, this is a position I took as soon as I became commissioner. There's hundreds of billions of dollars bet illegally just in the United States on sports right now, and for us, having it regulated and legal across the country is much better than the current state of affairs, where people are paying cash on at the corner bar. It's like here, at least, probably most important to us, putting aside a fee, is that we have access to the data in the aggregate, not to the individual bettors, so that if there's aberrational behavior, if there's, look, everybody knows what the lines are in these games. Everyone knows what the over-under is, and you can see when something's happening that's aberrational, just like there's insider trading with stocks, that the New York Stock Exchange, their computers, set off, red flags if there's unusual activity on a particular stock, and then they work backwards. They see exactly who's buying that stock, and they can figure out whether there's something untoward going on. It's no different in Europe, where there's legalized sports betting and people are identifying themselves betting on their smartphones, etc. If somebody who's never made a bet before is all of a sudden putting a lot of money down on a game that had an outcome that nobody was expecting, it causes the regulators to look, and it may be, who is this person? And maybe it's totally legit, but maybe it's not. So whether or not the fee comes to the NBA, a regulated jurisdiction will be much better for us.
All right, Adam, listen, we appreciate the insight there. A lot going on. We'll see how these things play out. Looking forward to the draft tomorrow on ESPN, ESPN Radio, and ESPN.com. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
During the baseball season, players are more driven to work hard, prove themselves early, and earn their position. Goodyear knows all about being more driven as well. They work hard for you every day, earning a position on your vehicle and on the road. Order your Goodyear tires from a local dealer near you.
All right, Des, we are here. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We just had our conversation with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. He was on with us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Again, he joined us on the eve of the draft.
Yeah, but I think one of his best lines when I talked about the 1% they want from gambling, he said, the casinos don't seem to want to agree with
Shocked by that.
Why are we shocked by that? It hasn't happened in Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas isn't giving any money back to anybody.
Although, Mike, I thought it was very interesting, his answer on that. It sounded to me, because Adam is a brilliant guy, I think he was making the case in the legal ramifications that may be going forward.
Going forward, right.
Well, let me explain. If you have this video in the background, or the music in the background.
And the royalties.
There's a royalty fee. And, oh, by the way, if you're scraping our information and our empirical intellectual property.
And you know what I do if I'm every other state?
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas. You
exactly.
You haven't gotten anything from them. I didn't see you going after them, so that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Well, Vegas is a city, actually.
I know. I mean,
we're the pettiest show in America.
Serious?
That was
we
Stanzik.
Really are. My God.
That was Stanzik.
Well, Stanzik's just always mad.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens going forward. We'll have some of that sound with Commissioner David Stern. Adam Silver a little bit later. Coming up, here's what we've got.
Wingo.
We've got not enough beer and naked people.
Oh,
we'll
boy.
Explain. Good morning.
Wow.